What's the widest aperture on your full-frame mirrorless zoom lens? Is it an f4 or an f2.8? Or if you're lucky, maybe even an f2? Well, if you didn't think they could get any wider, Sigma has just released the world's first f1.8 constant all the way through full-frame mirrorless zoom lens. Introducing the Sigma 28-45 f1.8 DG/DN Art Series for Sony E-mount and L-mount cameras. Now, there really is something to be said about how far optics have come in photography. Now, when I first saw this lens, I was kind of surprised. I was like, whoa, that's a pretty chunky lens. It weighs in at 2 pounds and 2 ounces, and with a 28-45 millimeter focal distance, it's kind of hard to understand why this lens would be as big of a deal as it is. And I'll tell you, it's because it's a 1.8 aperture all the way through, which is just absurd. And real quick before I break this lens down, we want to send a thank you to Sigma for letting us try out this pre-production model early. And if you want to learn more about it, or if you think I missed anything, please leave a comment in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Instagram so you're notified on all the sweet gear releasing this year. So this lens, the lens that's actually on the camera recording right now, is the successor to the Sigma 18-35 1.8 DC that was developed back in 2013. And that lens was the first lens to actually achieve the 1.8 aperture through a zoom lens, but unfortunately it was only for crop sensor cameras. So now at long last, we finally have a lens that works with full frame mirrorless cameras like the E-mounts and the L-mounts. And this lens might just replace some of the prime lenses in your camera bag, which is going to be what I'm comparing this lens to in this video, just so we can get a better understanding of what we're looking at. This lens has internal zoom, and although it's a bit of a heavier design because of the amount of glass that's required to maintain that constant 1.8 aperture, it's actually pretty well balanced. And I think it's safe to say that Sigma had the filmmakers of the world's best interest in mind when creating this lens. It's actually a lot easier than you think to set up on a gimbal, and with the benefit of a variable zoom at such a large aperture, it's basically an all-in-one video maker's package, eliminating the need to switch between a bunch of prime lenses. Spec'd out with Sigma's HLA, autofocus, and optical design that minimizes focus breathing. And this lens has proven to me already, it's super fast and reliable when picking out subjects, and especially when using AF tracking. It's important to note though just how shallow a 1.8 depth of field is if you aren't aware already, especially on a zoom lens. If you're getting close to your subject, your focus point is going to be very delicate, as you can see here. The minimum focus distance throughout the entire zoom range is 30 centimeters or 11.8 inches. With minimum chromatic aberration apparent, all the colors at any zoom range or any aperture have remained a nice, clean saturation. Internally, this lens is made up of 3 aspherical lens elements and 5 SLD glass elements that suppress aberrations, but provide comparable, high performance quality to these other prime lenses. So who is this lens for? Well, the fact that it's a 28-45 millimeter lens, basically give or take a 28-50, it's great for a lot of different things. It's really versatile, and with that 1.8 aperture, it's great to replace some of those prime lenses in your bag. It's great for travel photography or landscape photography, and it even has enough compression that it can make do as a nice portrait lens as well. I mentioned it at the start of this video that I'm truly impressed on how far optics have come in photography. And now that Sigma, a third-party lens manufacturer, is creating lenses that are honestly super competitive with lenses straight from their direct manufacturer, it means that the industry as a whole is going to keep growing and improving because everybody is going to be fighting for that top spot. Well, that's it for this video. If you're looking to learn more about this lens, please feel free to reach out to us here at the Pixel Connection. Pre-orders for this lens are now available online if the lens has not been released already. But until then, we'll see you guys in the next video.